I don't think I have any other way to start this video than to say a lot has happened since I recorded my last video. All is eventually good and well. Not much, if at all, not much, if any of it is genuinely bad. So hi, I'm your local internet friend, aka Toki. And, how else do I begin? Usually I would have something to say before I get into the video, but I don't have much else to say other than let's just get into the video. Without any type of preamble, here's this month's update. This month being October. And as per the usual, I would have a focus or a goal for the month. And the month of October, my main goal was the concept of consistency. Basically, I wanted to figure out what I can consistently do day to day. Now, I've already set up certain things for me to do daily or as close to daily as possible. So, like, everything that isn't physical body maintenance that I do on a day-to-day basis. So things like fixing myself food, handling hygiene, and the only thing out of that I probably would not include, that I'm excluding, is having to wash and for the most part handle my hair. So I was trying to figure out after maintenance tasks, how many other tasks can I do consistently? And the answer I got out of that was around 2 to 3. I wrote down, well, I typed up only 2, but it depends on how my energy is that day, from 2 to 3. The first thing I'm going to say that I actually did beside that is I did work on building up my inspiration, or I think I said motivation in the video, I don't remember honestly, to work more on the music project I was talking about. So I actually kept my promise by saying I would essentially take a break from it, or at the very least not have it as the main focus for this for this month. It's still October as I'm filming this, but it's around the end of October, so like, how comfortable am I saying this week? But within that, what I did was I found structure within working. I found structure within doing things that have nothing to do with working on an artistic project or a creative project. So basically the downtime from working on a creative project. I also specifically found a decent structure on how I can teach myself how to play either guitar or ukulele, or at least what my issue was when it came to learning those two instruments, and I will be bringing that up a bit later. But now I need to go ahead and bring on what I learned that has nothing to do with what I was focusing on this month. So I have found 2 major disappointments for the month of October. And I finally understand why they exist. So the first one is, why does it always seem like I don't make that much progress at all when I am putting in so much effort. Even if I am putting in as much effort as I feel I can, it's either the progress is so little that it does not seem to amount to anything, or it's practically non-existent. And not only did I find the reason as to why that was, I'm also finding why it had been bothering me for so long. So a little insight into how I deal with at least making these videos. I do an outline in the Notes app on my phone because it's way easier than writing it down. So I make the outline on the Notes app in my phone, and I don't I add on to it until like the day that I have to record. The day that I set to record. And the funnier thing about this video in particular is there are birds. I created this outline yesterday as of filming this. So all of this was stuff that I was able to properly process the day before I filmed this. And what's even funnier is I was able to properly understand the main reason as to why I've been having a problem with caring so much about the concept of progress and results. The first thing I will say is you would think with the amount of effort you put into something that you would actually be able to get some sort of results. The issue with that is not everything works that way. The problem I was specifically having was it wasn't just me that was having to deal with the disappointment of not really getting results, but it was having to deal with, at the very least, the perception of other people's disappointment. Because not everyone has the capability of handling their own emotions, especially the people around me. I hear a bell. And like, as someone that reads people's actions, yeah, that's how I'm going to say that. I can tell sometimes when a person is disappointed, but they don't want to say that they're disappointed because then that makes you feel bad and they don't want to be responsible for that. But like, it still ends up showing in the way that they handle, in the way that they act afterwards. The gist of what I'm trying to say is part of my issue is when I tell people that I'm planning on doing something, I tend to say it as if the plan has already been written and I'm certified and I'm 100% certain that it will work out. Whether that is to be the truth or not, usually it isn't. But it's like, I also feel like I have to sound certain enough so that a person does not have any manner of trying to persuade me otherwise. See, this is one of the issues that I have with essentially going off script, or at the very least not writing something into the outline and then figuring out how to say it without needing to add an entire like side note tangent dissertation. Because the gist of what I'm trying to say, I'm also trying to skirt around some of the problems I'm seeing while I'm trying to say it. And I think that continues to show the actual issue. Because of the fact that I have felt Like, I had to be responsible. I had to be the responsible one. I had never allowed myself to do anything that I wasn't 100% certain I should be doing. And this is kind of me essentially just facing that. Not that I'm not 100% sure that I should be doing it, because I am 100% sure I should be doing it. But it's also having to deal with recognizing that I'm not doing everything I can to make it work in the way that most people would want me to. Because it doesn't seem logical to be doing something that, at least in this day and age, it doesn't seem logical to be doing something that doesn't give you money. And it seems like it's hard for people to actually believe I'm getting something out of what I'm doing that has nothing to do with any type of monetary gain. But because of the fact that that's something a lot of people, mainly that I live with or have been around, that claims they care about me, focuses on most of the time. And that's what I grew up around. It seems a bit, even to me, illogical to be doing something if it doesn't give you any type of monetary gain. But that would also be, in and of itself, restricting myself from having emotional satisfaction. And for some reason, I find it to be easier to blame myself because I should know better, or with the knowledge that I have, I should do better. When in actuality, it's not that I'm doing anything wrong. So what can I be doing better? Again, at the end of the day, I am disappointed that it didn't work out the way that I originally thought it would. Or I'm not getting the results that I thought I would to prove that I'm doing something right. But monetary gain is not the only result that you can use to prove that you're doing something right. And while I was trying to actually sit with that conclusion, I did not have the ability to, because I then had to basically stand my ground when it came to what I was doing and not focus on solidifying that piece of truth in my head. Because again, being around the wrong people with different values, I'm not even going to say the wrong ones, I'm just going to say different, is a struggle and a half. Because it's already bad enough that I've had to be raised with the blame, shame, game cycle. Which is, if something doesn't go a certain way, a person's going to blame you for it not going that way, and then shame you for not doing everything in your power to make sure it went that way. But after having an entire year-long one-sided conversation about the illusion of control and the fact that you don't really have as much control if you're trying to stick to your own values, it now makes no sense to be trying to do something like that. So while progress in one sense I don't have any, there's progress in other manners that is telling me that I'm at least not wasting time. Now, the second bit of the whole little to practically non-existent progress is where the ukulele thing comes in. And that kind of reminded me of the saying that insanity is doing the same thing over again, thinking you're going to get a different result. And how I didn't realize that I took that saying to heart. Because one of the funny things about playing the guitar or playing ukulele is muscle memory is very important. Hi. So it's kind of difficult for me to continue to practice and not see any type of result that says my practice high is doing anything. But something that I've found to have been true, at least when it came to me learning Korean, is sometimes the progress can be so little that you don't realize it until after maybe like a few months, and then you have a moment where you can actually tell you've done some work and it has worked out well. Yeah, sometimes I do have to remind myself that at least when it comes to learning an instrument, a lot of the practice is just simply for muscle memory. And some chords, at least, take a lot longer to memorize. So yeah, it feels like it feels like the definition. It feels like the working definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. But in actuality, it literally is just muscle memory and practice not making perfect, but practice creating muscle memory. With all that being said, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified of whenever I post, and try to figure out where exactly that piece of advice came from. Insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over again, thinking you're going to get a different result. Because I looked and it said it's usually accredited to Albert Einstein. The heck is going on? I'm not too sure about that. And I also don't feel like looking it up myself, because going down that rabbit hole, nope. I already have enough to do today. Anyway, this has been your local internet friend, aka Toki. Toki out.